47 degrees in Buffalo. The wind not nearly as treacherous as it was yesterday. It was raining here in upstate New York yesterday, turning into a pleasant day. Partly sunny skies as we get you ready for the Bills and the Texans. Houston has won the toss, and Buffalo will kick off with the veteran Ryan Lindell. Andre Davis is the deep man for the Texans, averaging 23.6 yards per return with a long of 63. He's from the capital region, out near Albany, New York. Lindell will get things started from Ralph Wilson Stadium. Bills with a chance to move to 500. Texans can go to 5-3. Davis off the stumble and brought down just across the 15-yard line. That's where the Texans will open up after the 11-yard return. Matt Schaub.
Oh, he's becoming one of the elite quarterbacks in the game. He's figured out how to take care of the football. He's making better decisions, and most importantly for Houston, he's been able to stay healthy.
And a quick count. Schaub flushed out of the pocket. On the move, Schaub, the tuck and run, and angles out of bounds. Paul Posluszny over there defensively giving chase. 3 tight end formation. Schaub throwing. Floater over the middle. It's to Owen Daniels, who extends his body out to the 40-yard line, and a first down for the Texans. George Wilson got him down low. That's a 22-yard hookup. And Jairus Byrd, right now, got to be a major candidate for Rookie of the Year. On first down, Schaub, pump fake. They'll dump it off. Steve Slayton out of the perimeter. Slayton is spun around just short of the 45-yard line by Terrence McGee. Give him a gain of 5 through the air.
And I want you to take a look at Steve Slayton. You know, he's had a problem, man, putting the ball on the ground. They've worked on it all week. I want you to watch when he catches the ball here. Watch what he does with the ball. He's got it initially in his right hand. Watch him switch it to his outside hand, his left hand to the boundary. He's learning how to take care of the football.
Well, Paul Posluszny told us that watching film, he was always with the right hand. And you're right, clearly Slayton making an adjustment. And some trickery now. Jacoby Jones has explosive abilities in the open field, and he's got the angle for the first down. On the end around, it covers 17 yards for Houston, and the Texans are on the move. First possession of the day.
Wow, you talk about misdirection. You start them one way, you're gonna see them start downhill, and then the reverse is gonna come back around the other way. They do a great job. Look at them seal the backside, all the pursuit, and of course, Jacoby Jones has plenty of ground to work.
Ryan Moats is in there, replacing Steve Slayton. He was in there on the last down as well. It's a 1st and 10 inside the 40 for the Texans. On the ground, Moats has some blockers, turns the corner. And Ryan Moats, Vontae Leach with a good block up front. That's a 6-yard gain for Moats. Has not carried the football very often this year. Just his 16th carry of the season, now in his 5th year out of Louisiana Tech, the former Philadelphia Eagle.
And what did Gary Kubiak tell us last night in the meeting? He said he wants to get a look at Ryan Moats early in the game. He wants to take some of the pressure off of Steve Slayton in the running game. Want to make sure they take care of the ball early in this football game.
2nd and 4 now from the 32, 6th play of this opening drive.
Wow, look at all the defenders up at the line of scrimmage.
Bills are showing blitz. Schaub, play fake. Schaub throwing and intercepted.
There he is.
Jairus Byrd. The Birdman has done it again. Number 6 for Byrd in his rookie season from Oregon. What a roll this young man is on.
And if you're Matt Schaub coming into this game, you have to know at all times where Jairus Byrd is in the secondary. That safety, he's got great range. Perry Fuel, the defensive coordinator, said he's like a baseball player who can track a ball. He has been phenomenal. 6 interceptions, 5 in the month of October, most in the AFC.
He became the first rookie with 5 interceptions in a month since Mark Carrier with the Bears back in December of 1990. Schaub picked off by Byrd, and the Bills take over with a 1st and 10 at their own 13-yard line. A 3-receiver set. Fitzpatrick throwing. On the move to the outside, Josh Reed. And a modest gain on first down, picks up 4 yards. 2nd and 6 now for Buffalo off the turnover. Marshawn Lynch, single setback. Running play for Lynch. He's got some room. And Lynch has a first down as he veers towards the sideline at the 25-yard line. Replacing the injured Trent Edwards, and afterwards, because he put up big numbers, which Patrick told us, everybody thought he was going to be Brett Favre, including his family and friends.
Yeah, you know, he's a very intelligent quarterback. You see here, takes a look at the defense, changing the play at the line of scrimmage.
Handoff, it is Lynch up the gut. And Marshawn Lynch, boy, if the Bills could ever get the running game going. He is on pace for the worst numbers of his career. Here's Lynch, cutting against the grain and now in trouble. Look at all the white jerseys swarming, including Dante Robinson slowing him down. Dante Robinson is going to be matched up with Lee Evans throughout the day. From the gun, Fitzpatrick. Pocket was breaking down too high for Josh Reed. And incomplete. Mario Williams, he has come oh so close to really stockpiling some sacks. And he applied the pressure on Fitzpatrick. Bills are forced to punt.
Well, you know, they get that great run on first down. They have a negative run on second down. They have a third and short, and they can't convert. And it's been a problem all season for the Bills. They've been horrible on third down, completing just 26%. They have to be better on the early downs.
Brian Moorman, AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, had 8 punts last week, averaging 45 yards. More importantly, 4 inside the 20. Jacoby Jones. And Jones brought down across the 30-yard line. It's an 11-yard return. Buffalo Bills forced 4 turnovers last week, turned those into 17 points. They forced a turnover on the first possession for Houston, but no points to show for it. Texans take over a 1st and 10 at the 31. Hand off to Slayton up the gut. And Slayton keeping the legs churning. Not much there, though. A gain of a yard, yard and a half. Big Marcus Stroud in on that stop for Buffalo.
Well, you know, keep an eye on the Bills, their secondary, particularly George Wilson. What are you going to see today? He's going to get down around the line of scrimmage and try and disrupt Owen Daniels. That's going to be key. They're going to try and choke him, disrupt him at the line of scrimmage so that he can't get a free release on some of these routes.
He had high praise for Daniels and how he conducts himself out there on the field. Schaub set up the screen, and Kevin Walter tripped up as he crossed the 35 by Chris Kelsey, the defensive end, coming over to make the play on the wideout. Matt Schaub, NFL passer ratings. Well, we know overall he is the 4th ranked passer in quarterback rating in the NFL. And take a listen to the other guys. It's Manning, Rodgers, Breeze. Schaub leads the NFL in yards and touchdowns, 2nd in attempts.
Well, he just seems so much more confident and comfortable in the system. His 3rd year with Gary Kubiak and Kyle Shanahan, it's all starting to make sense for Matt Schaub.
Reggie corner in as the nickel, shotgun formation on a 3rd and 6. Schaub pumping, Schaub in some trouble. Throwing sideline and incomplete. Gary Kubiak wants a call. Aaron Schobel was the one who supplied the heat on Matt Schaub.
Well, one of the keys that when you're facing a hot quarterback right now like Matt Schaub, and if you're Buffalo defensively.
Boy, Owen Daniels is down, Rich.
Well,
medical staff has come out. We'll take a break. Owen Daniels just limped off the field as the training staff is taking a look. 4th down, Matt Turk will punt it. Fred Jackson is deep. High punt, Jackson ranging over, and a fair catch called for at the 23-yard line. It is the right knee of Owen Daniels, and here's another issue. This is rare, where you see them completely blow the spot. Fred Jackson, fair catch at the 23, yet they've placed the football at the 26-yard line. They just handed Buffalo 3 yards.
What's a few yards between friends?
Really? You're okay with it?
If you're Buffalo, you are.
So the Bills take over, +3. Fitzpatrick over the middle, and Terrell Owens, T.O., making the catch. Out to the 29-yard line, and it's really a 3-yard gain. And an injured Bill on the play as well as Owens comes back to take a look. And it is Jamon Meredith, the rookie, getting the start at right tackle for the injured Jonathan Scott. And back in Orchard Park, New York, Jamon Meredith had to be helped off the field, and the veteran Kirk Chambers, former Cleveland Brown, has stepped in to replace him at right tackle. 2nd and 7 for Buffalo after the injury. Handoff. Marshawn Lynch cannot break free of D'Amico Ryans. 4th-year linebacker out of Alabama, went to the Pro Bowl in 2007. One of the leaders of this defensive unit, no gain on the play.
Well, they've done a much better job, as we talked about in the open, at stopping the run since week 3. We said they were the worst in the National Football League, giving up 205 yards a game. Since then, the best in football, giving up a paltry 48.5. They figured out how to stop the run in Houston.
This team has been very good on the road. They've won 4 of their last 6 road games, the Texans. They are over 500 for the first time since October of 2007. Fitzpatrick throwing towards the sideline, and catch is made by Steve Johnson, but it's short of a first down. 5-yard pickup. Fitzpatrick upset, and so are the Bills fans. Buffalo will punt it.
You always have to be careful on the boundary. You see the
chain gang
get knocked around a little bit, but again, another 3 and out. This Houston defense has done a nice job. 3 and outs are demoralizing to an offense. Houston has forced 31 of them so far. That's the most in the National Football League.
So Brian Moorman on for his second punt of the day. And Jacoby Jones standing at his own 14-yard line, forced to backpedal. Catches cleanly at the 5. Jones makes his move down the sideline, and it's Jones. Gets around the punter. Jones still on his feet. Jacoby Jones tripped up at the 25-yard line, and a penalty marker thrown back at the 43. Todd Johnson, backup safety, got him down. 70-yard return after the 61-yard punt. And we'll hear from Gene Steratore, the referee, an outstanding one for the first time today.
During return, holding 54 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down Houston, timeout.
And it's coming back. Even with the hold, the Texans still have outstanding field position. It'll go down as a 52-yard return. And Houston takes over at the 47-yard line. Incomplete, looking to get Andre Johnson involved. Drayton Florence drew the coverage for Buffalo, and it's 2nd and 10 for the Texans.
Boy, what an amazing week for Andre Johnson. You know, he had the bruised lung in their win over San Francisco last week. The blood work and results came back positive for him this week. He was limited in practice on Thursday. He goes out there and does a full load on Friday. He's playing today. He's wearing a special rib protector to protect his chest and lungs, but this is one tough football player in Andre Johnson.
Shotgun formation. Schaub setting up the wide receiver screen for Johnson. Able to turn it upfield, and Johnson into Buffalo territory for a 6-yard gain as he gets hit by Chris Draft. Shotgun formation. Schaub on a quick toss, and Steve Slayton loses the ball. Slayton fumbles it. Had the first down, and Buffalo takes over. Marcus Stroud with the recovery. And the fumbling problems continue for Steve Slayton.
And you almost feel sorry for him. You know, 6 fumbles coming into today's game, more than any other non-quarterback in the National Football League. We talked with him last night. He's got a bullseye on his chest right now. You see right there, Paul Posluszny does a nice job coming in and getting that strip. And when we talked with the Buffalo defense, they said ball extraction has been a point of emphasis all week. The first guy's got to secure the tackle. The second guy has to punch and strip.
And that's exactly what the Bills just did. Second turnover of the day for Houston. Buffalo takes over. 5th fumble lost this season for Slayton. Handoff, it's Jackson up the middle. And Fred Jackson is thrown down short of the 45-yard line by Bernard Pollard. It's a 3-yard gain.
It was a point of emphasis all week here in Buffalo. Get the ball out from Steve Slayton.
And Slayton told us last night, I've got to change that perception. This isn't going to help. Handoff. And it's Jackson bulldozing his way forward out near midfield, but short of a first down. Brian Cushing along with Jeff Scanina. You've got a 22-year-old and a 39-year-old combining to bring him down. Arizona 4-2 leading that division. Got off to a slow start, but we're back. And Fitzpatrick is buried. Brian Cushing. Cushing now with 1.5 sacks on the season. It's a loss of 8. The Bills will punt.
Well, this is a very young and inexperienced offensive line, and pass protection has been a problem. They're going to try and bring pressure right up the middle. You see the stunts go on. Brian Cushing gets freed up. He has had a wonderful rookie campaign so far, Ryan. The only defender in the National Football League this season has a sack, a forced fumble, an interception, and a safety. That's pretty good stuff from Brian Cushing.
And Brian Moorman on for his 3rd punt of the day. Jacoby Jones, we know how dangerous he is from the 16-yard line. Jones working the other side of the field this time. And a little juke move as a flag comes down. Jones was forced out on the perimeter. 14-yard return, a 43-yard punt.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, number 34. 10-yard penalty. First down, Houston. Timeout.
Lowen Daniels, it is a right knee injury. His return is questionable. Still on the training table on the Houston sideline. How does that affect this Texans offense with his absence?
Well, you know what? That's like losing your safety blanket. He's a leading receiver right now in terms of receptions. 39 coming into today's game. 7 for 123 last week. It's one of Matt Schaub's best friends.
And right now, Ryan Moats is getting an opportunity after Steve Slayton gave up the football. It's a 6-yard gain for Moats, tackled by Puzluzny. Moats was a backup in Philadelphia. He was on Arizona's practice squad, a slasher, native of Texas. And now he gets a chance. Slayton's helmet is off.
Yeah, you know, they're not running it very well right now. They have an imbalance. They're 30th right now in the National Football League in terms of running the third against the pass. They're averaging just 79 yards a game on the ground. They have to get better.
2nd and 4. Schaub over the middle and picked off. Intercepted. Guess who? Jairus Byrd. The man has a nose for the football.
And you know, when I studied the film, you know, you think to yourself, maybe the guy is just, he's in the right place at the right time. He's got good fortune. This guy has great anticipation. He does a great job at reading the quarterback. You watch him right in the middle of the screen there. He does a good job driving on the ball, and he has great hands.
Can you give somebody Defensive Rookie of the Year in Week 8?
He's meant more to this defense in the last 3 or 4 weeks than any player, and he's just playing with a lot of confidence right now.
And Buffalo takes over with a 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 29-yard line. Flip for Owens. Terrell Owens down the sideline. He's gone. Touchdown, Buffalo.
And when you're struggling to throw in the ball, you have to find ways, creative ways to get him the ball. Of course, reverses are good too, and they're looking for a way to get the crowd into the game. They take advantage of a turnover, and T.O. comes right around on the end-around reverse. And look at this guy. He can still run with the best of them. You got to find a way to get him the ball early in games.
Bills take the lead. Points off of turnovers. Huge keys the last couple of weeks in victories over the Jets and Carolina. Byrd the pick, T.O. the touchdown. And flags come down.
And I still think that T.O. is trying to find his way in this offense right now. You know, it's a different system for him, a new quarterback. He seems frustrated, but they just got to have patience with him. This guy can still be one of the dominant playmakers at his position, but the key is getting him some touches early and getting his confidence back. Right now, he seems frustrated.
Defense number 94. His movement caused a false start. The 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
A 1-year, $6.5 million contract for Terrell Owens. And we know that it's been frustrating for him. These are not T.O.-like numbers that he's put up. 6-time Pro Bowl, future Hall of Famer, 9 1,000-yard seasons. Schaub's pass was deflected and intercepted by Byrd to set up the touchdown. 7-0. Buffalo. Jairus Byrd, 2nd-round pick out of Oregon, had 17 interceptions in his career as a cornerback, mostly for the Ducks. He's playing safety with the Buffalo Bills. The young man has 7 picks through the first 8 weeks of his NFL career.
You know, keep in mind, this guy missed a lot of training camp. You know, he had to hold out. He came in, he had a sports hernia that they had to work through. And when I talked to Perry Fuel, the defensive coordinator, he said, you know, he's still learning how to play the game, and he played a lot of corner in college. He's still trying to figure out how to play safety, but they don't want to overload him. He's playing so well right now. He's playing on instincts and feel.
So Lindell will kick it off after the rushing touchdown from T.O. Andre Davis from the goal line. Davis now up the middle. And Davis able to stay on his feet as he crossed the 25-yard line. Ashley Palmer with a stop on special teams. Job throwing on first down to Andre Johnson. That can quiet a crowd in a hurry. 12-yard gain right over the middle. And a new set of downs for the Texans to work with.
Well, nice job here with Andre Johnson. He's very strong with his hands. He does a great job with releasing, and he's just obviously one of the premier route runners in the National Football League. They're playing as well as any offense right now in football. They attack you a number of different ways on the ground, in the screen game. They have a fine tight end, and certainly that guy right there, one of the best wide receivers in the game, Andre Johnson.
Still no Owen Daniels. Handoff goes up the middle. Ryan Moats with a big gain out across midfield into Buffalo territory. 13-yard rip as Wilson made the hit. That's the longest run of the season for Moats.
And this is what they want to do more of, be able to run the football with some consistency and production. We talked with Gary Kubiak last night, their head coach, and he said, listen, we're throwing it real well right now, but we need that balance and symmetry. We have to be able to run the ball early in football games.
So a first down now for Houston at the 48-yard line of Buffalo. Fake the handoff. Schaub in some trouble. Throwing. And nobody home. In the direction of Andre Johnson. Chris Kelsey with the pressure on Schaub.
This is what you have to be able to do, because they'll lull you to sleep with all these stretch plays. And off of that, of course, comes the boots and the nakeds. Matt Schaub, very good when he gets out in space. Very accurate thrower on the move. So guys like Kelsey and Schobel got to do a good job getting upfield, forcing him, containing him, keeping him in the pocket.
Steve Slayton still waiting for his chance to get back out there. Chris Brown, the veteran, in his 7th year, former Tennessee Titan, now on the field. Shotgun formation on a 2nd and 10 for Houston. Empty backfield. Schaub, protection holds up. And Schaub will run it. Matt Schaub sliding down at the 40-yard line, and a flag. Schaub had committed to going down, and the officials may have felt that the Bills defenders were overzealous.
Personal foul, late hit defense, number 27, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And he had come up short of a first down. Reggie Corner helped to make sure of it. And obviously it's all in the timing when it comes down to these plays.
This is not something you normally see or anticipate from Matt Schaub. He's not willing to pull it down as much, but right there you got to be smart. When you see that quarterback slide feet first, you have to be smart enough to pull off and not take a penalty.
Right call, you think?
It was close. You know, you could see right there at the end, he wasn't trying to hit him in the head. He was doing his best to make sure he was down, but you just got to be smart.
From the 25, Schaub, play action. Schaub in trouble, and sack. Aaron Schobel busting through.
Well, he leads them in sacks right now with 4 coming into this game. You're going to see him right down here at the bottom of your screen. He beats the tight end actually coming across. That was Kevin Walter trying to cut him. That was a mismatch. Having a receiver trying to block Chris Keller, Aaron Schobel off the edge. Aaron Schobel is a guy that I like. He doesn't take plays off. He plays with a big-time motor. Him and Kelsey got a lot of energy.
5th sack of the season for Schobel, an 11-yard loss on the play. Play action, Schaub throwing. Out on a cross, David Anderson. That sack had brought them out of field goal range. Start of the second quarter in Orchard Park, New York. Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew. T.O. has gotten the Bills on the board with a 29-yard touchdown run. And the Houston Texans facing a 3rd and 14. Flags come down. First play of this second quarter. Eric Winston was pointing at the Buffalo Bills defensive line. And Gene Steratore is looking for a uniform number now. Texans seem satisfied with the call. Looked like it was on the right side of the Buffalo Bills defensive line. Looking at it from left to right, facing the right side of the Texans offensive line.
Remember, we sat down yesterday with Paul Posluszny. He told us a big key in stopping this football team is shutting down the screen game. The screens show up in 2nd and 8+.
Neutral zone infraction, defense, number 99. His step into neutral zone caused the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Yeah, it is Marcus Stroud, costing them 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 9.
You can see right there in the middle of your screen right here, a little false start. Good job there by Matt Schaub using the cadence. But again, getting back to what Paul Posluszny told us, he said there's a real key 2nd and 8+, 3rd and 11+, big screen situation when you face this Houston offense.
3rd and 9 now for the Texans from the 24, from the gun. Schaub throwing. Oh, dangerous pass on the outside. Drayton Florence was making his way over there as Schaub took the hit from Aaron Schobel. And now the field goal unit will come on. Chris Brown for the Texans.
And this got him in trouble week 4. Remember, we saw him when he started to his right there, and he was late coming back all the way across the field. That's, as a quarterback, that's really where you get yourself in trouble, not following your reads and progressions and going from one side of the field to the other.
42-yard attempt. Houston looking for its first point of the day. Chris Brown. He knocks it through. 8-play, 50-yard drive for the Houston Texans, ending in a 42-yard field goal for Chris Brown. Matt Schaub on the day, 7 of 13, 60 yards, 2 interceptions. And Brown now kicking off to Fred Jackson and Justin Jenkins, who are deep for Buffalo. This will be Jackson taking it out of the end zone for the Bills. And Jackson out across the 25-yard line. Jacques Reeves, the play on special teams. Well, Trent Edwards suffered a concussion a couple of weeks ago against the New York Jets. We asked Dick Duran about his status. He said, look, following a head injury, you've got to go through the protocol. He's had 2 concussions within the last year, so they're being a little more conservative because of that. They have a bye week coming up. Then they'll take on Tennessee on the road November the 15th. So Ryan Fitzpatrick has the job right now. A little bootleg. Fitzpatrick throwing to the outside. And the tight end, Derek Fine, out across the 35-yard line. Picks up 9 yards.
Well, he actually was throwing some on Friday at practice, and we'll have more tests this week, and barring any setbacks, I really anticipate he has a chance to come back following their bye next week.
On a handoff, 1st down. And Fred Jackson picks up 3 yards. Edwards is on the sideline. Fitzpatrick is now the starter. Fitzpatrick, Alex Van Pelt, that's a new relationship. Van Pelt is in an entirely new role, calling the plays for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, you know, when you talked with Dick Duran yesterday, he said we really put him in a difficult spot. I mean, Alex Van Pelt didn't even have the benefit of an offseason to put this whole thing together, but he's had some help along the way.
He replaced Turk Schoner at that offensive coordinator position. And Fitzpatrick hit as he throws, and whistle blows. Incomplete pass. Antonio Smith with the smack on Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And again, we get back to this young, inexperienced offensive line. You see the push right up the middle, right there from Antonio Smith. And I'll tell you, he just goes right between Levitre and Demetrius Bell. And we talked about it. There's 3 starters, 3 of the 4 starters along that offensive line, first-year players, and just growing each week. They're getting better, but you have to really scale back the plan to make sure these guys are comfortable with the pass protection.
Double tight end set. Handoff goes to Jackson, trying to cut it inside, and Jackson is stopped after a 3-yard gain. We mentioned Van Pelt. He's got very strong relationships around the league, including Paul Hackett, who was his head coach when he was at Pitt, Mike McCarthy, who was an assistant when Van Pelt was there. These guys obviously know what they're doing and have been experienced play callers. Would you say he's leaning on them a lot?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Nathaniel Hackett is the offensive quality control coach. He's actually up in the booth in Alex's headset. And, you know, Alex was coached by Paul Hackett. That's Nathaniel's dad, and Mike McCarthy, the head coach in Green Bay. So great friends, great mentors, and great resources for Alex.
3rd and 7. Fitzpatrick just dropped it in the bucket to Josh Reed for a 1st down. 15-yard pickup. And this Buffalo drive continues into Houston territory.
Well, you know, you look right here, this guy has been really on fire the last 4 starts, going back to week 15 last year. And he's a guy that, you know, his profile, you think he's a very intelligent quarterback, just 17 career starts in his 4 years. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Accuracy has been a little bit of a problem, though.
Wildcat formation here for Buffalo. Fred Jackson taking the direct snap. And Jackson, not a whole lot there. He's angled out of bounds after picking up 3 yards on first down. Glover Quinn ranging over to help make the play. Fitzpatrick was thrust into the starting role last year with Cincinnati because of the injury to Carson Palmer. And all-time as a starter, record of 5-10-1. But remember, the Bengals were playing well at the end of last season. It's funny, you talk to Marvin Lewis, he'll tell you that they used that and it spilled over into 2009. Another Wildcat setup here for Buffalo. Jackson taking the snap again. Fake the handoff to Lynch. Jackson extends the body, comes up shy of the 35. Bernard Pollard read it very well, and it's a gain of only 1. So they're lining up, trying to trick the Houston Texans, who are not getting fooled at all.
Well, you know, you think about it, almost every skill position player other than Fred Jackson has really gotten off to a slow start this year. And they're just trying to find creative ways. You know, you think about last week, just 167 yards of offense last week, the lowest total in a winning effort in the last 20 years for the Buffalo Bills.
And they gave up 425 yards to Carolina and won the game 20-9. Fitzpatrick, he's buried. Out at the 38-yard line, Antonio Smith. Mario Williams supplied that initial pressure to get Fitzpatrick out of his comfort zone. And then Smith finished him off, and the Buffalo Bills drive stalls.
Well, they're going to have to start helping these young tackles. I mean, it's a story every week, and you feel for both of them. They don't have a lot of experience, but you have to help them. You have to slide the line. You need a tight end presence over there. The back's going to have to start chipping. Keep in mind, they've gone against some very good ends the last 2 weeks, and Julius Peppers, and today Mario Williams.
Brian Moorman trying to put this one in the corner. He had 4 inside the 20 last week, and this will get the job done at the 10-yard line. 28-yard punt. Houston Texans came in today with a +3 in turnover ratio. They are -3 on the day, and they trail 7-3 in the second quarter. A flag comes down. Chris Brown has come in at running back, hit by Chris Kelsey, but a penalty marker on the play.
That's on Chris Brown. What happened was the fullback went in motion, and Chris Brown moved as well. Can't have 2 guys moving at once.
Illegal shift, offense. 2 men in the backfield moving without resetting. 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
So another penalty against Gary Kubiak's squad.
Well, you just can't have these mistakes. I mean, you and I just talked off air about the fact that they have these great weapons on the offense. Andre Johnson, Owen Daniels, and Steve Slayton. Well, there's Owen Daniels. He's not playing. Steve Slayton on the sideline because he's not doing a good enough job taking care of the ball. It makes things difficult for Matt Schaub.
Little floater by Schaub is incomplete. James Casey, rookie out of Rice. A 5th-round draft pick and a backup tight end, the intended receiver. And we open the show featuring those 3 guys along with Schaub, Slayton, Johnson, Daniels.
Yeah, they are loaded with talent at the skill positions. I mean, some really fine players that jump out at you when you watch the film. And, you know, I think 3 of the 4 will be Pro Bowlers. I think, you know, Matt Schaub's got a chance. Andre Johnson, Owen Daniels, Steve Slayton. He's got to do a better job with ball security.
David Anderson, the motion man. On a 2nd and 15, Schaub in the pocket, over the middle, makes the completion to Chris Brown. And he picks up 8 yards on 2nd down. Posluszny and Schobel combined to bring him down. Bills are dealing with injuries of their own defensively. No Dante Whitner, no Brian Scott, no Kyle Williams. And Buffalo continues to make plays on that side of the ball.
Well, they have young players that have stepped up. You know, think about Spencer Johnson on that defensive line. George Wilson has come in and been solid the last couple weeks. And, of course, Jairus Byrd has been absolutely phenomenal in that secondary.
And they lost Leotis McKelvin to a broken leg earlier this season. 3rd and 7 now. Fans getting into it. Schaub straight back. Schaub throwing on a cross to David Anderson. Turns it upfield, and a big gain for Anderson. Finally knocked down after 27 yards. George Wilson with the hit. And this drive will continue for the Texans.
And that's blitz zone. I want you to keep an eye on number 91, Spencer Johnson. He's actually dropping in coverage, and he's trying to cover David Anderson. That is a mismatch, but that's what happens when you bring pressure. You force some of your other defenders to drop in coverage, and that's where you get the mismatch.
1st and 10 now at the 40-yard line. Ryan Moats in the backfield. Jones, the motion man. Handoff to Moats. With a stutter step move from Moats and a 3-yard gain. George Wilson there to help secure that it didn't go any longer than that, along with Marcus Stroud.
Well, I think the key is when you face a quarterback like Matt Schaub, there's a couple things you have to do. Certainly you have to be sound with your coverage schemes. You have to get pressure on him early in the game. You have to force him to move in the pocket. And I'll tell you, if you don't force him to move, you allow him to sit in there and get comfortable, he can really pick you apart.
On a 2nd and 7, the number 3 ranked passing offense in the National Football League. Schaub, deep drop, and throwing over the middle. Ryan Moats into Buffalo territory, stays on his feet and finally angled out of bounds out across the 40-yard line, just shy of the 35. So the catch and run turned to a 20-yard gain for Houston.
Well, it's actually a screen. They were running a screen right there, and you see Moats, he came back inside, and this is a tremendous screen team because they have an athletic offensive line that can get out in front. They have a bunch of different screens. I mean, they throw them to the wide receiver, they throw them to the tight end, they throw them to the backs. Particularly, though, Andre Johnson and Steve Slayton have killed defenses in the screen game.
On 1st down, handoff to Chris Brown, and he's brought down right away by Reggie Corner. Best screen team you've seen in the NFL this year?
Yeah, they really are, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have the skilled people to really operate them. Guys like Andre Johnson and Steve Slayton, very deceptive but very decisive when they get the ball, and of course an offensive line that's athletic. Guys like Dwayne Brown and Chris Myers and Steadard White, guys that can get out in space and run and cut.
Steve Slayton right now in spectator mode, the 2nd-year running back out of West Virginia from Levittown, Pennsylvania. Had nearly 1,300 yards rushing in his rookie season 1 year ago. On a 2nd and 11, Brown remains in there for Houston. Schaub throwing it near side to James Casey, diving forward short of the 30-yard line. And as usual, Matt Schaub is mixing it up. 8 different receivers have caught balls today for the Texans. Schaub, a gun out across the 25-yard line to Kevin Walter. And a new set of downs for Houston to work with. It's a 1st down.
And this is what we talked about when we did them in week 4, is the fact that Matt Schaub does not discriminate. He does a great job spreading the ball around. 8 different receivers. They want to get a lot of the players involved in the game early. That's something the Buffalo Bills need to do on offense. Get some of these receivers some touches so they can get a comfortable start early in games.
Kubiak collaborating with Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for Houston. 1st down for the Texans. Up the middle, Ryan Moats. And Moats runs into a wall in the person of Nick Harris, rookie out of Oklahoma, a collegiate safety now playing linebacker. It's a 3-yard gain.
Well, this is good to see, because so often when you have a quarterback that's playing as well as Matt Schaub, you can ride that hot hand sometimes, and you can think about just throwing the ball, but you can see good patience by the play callers in Houston, mixing in some run and pass early on 1st and 2nd down.
Ryan Moats trying to take advantage of the opportunity here. Slayton put the ball on the ground, and Moats finds himself the featured back. Here's Moats with a cut. Stays on his feet, and Ryan Moats with a 1st down run. Tough running by Moats, slithering his way for a 1st down, 8-yard pickup. So now Houston is in the red zone, trailing 7-3. Under 5 minutes to go in this 1st half, and the clock is moving.
Boy, and Ryan Moats has come in. As you said, he's really taken advantage of this opportunity. Increased his workload in practice during the week. They wanted to get him some touches early. They didn't anticipate Steve Slayton coming in here and putting the ball on the ground early in the 1st quarter.
And mixing it up in this drive as well. 11th play of the drive, handoff to Chris Brown. Cutting to the outside, Brown, one of the tallest tailbacks that you will ever see at 6'3", 234 pounds. Drayton Florence over there defensively, give him a gain of a yard, yard and a half, depending on that spot.
Yeah, you know, he hasn't had a lot of carries in the normal down and distance. He's really been used predominantly as a short yardage and goal line back. And you know, he hasn't been all that effective in his role as that short yardage and goal line back. It's one of the problems that they've had. Their short yardage and goal line offense has cost them some football games.
186 yards of offense for Houston. Schaub to throw it. Schaub swings it, and Brown is hit right away by Harris. No gain on the play.
Well, I tell you, as a back, these are the throws you hate to catch. Quarterback's late with his eyes. He doesn't see out in front, and Nick Harris is waiting right there for the easy knockdown.
Bills trying to hold off the Texans here. 13th play of the drive. 4 receivers set on a 3rd and 10.
Shuffle pass.
Up the middle. Kevin Walter. And across the 5-yard line for Houston. George Wilson with the hit. It's a 9-yard gain, but they needed the full 10 for a first down. So it's decision time for Kubiak and the Texans.
I think he kicked the field goal. I'll tell you why. They have not been, we just talked about it, Ryan, they have not been very good in short yardage and goal line. And we're going to talk about this one.
It's a long one also. It's probably closer to 2 yards for the first down.
And I think you take the points on the road. I really do. They're going to take a timeout. Timeout, talk it over.
Play clock winding down. That's when they'll take the timeout. They talked it over during the timeout, and Gary Kubiak has decided to take the points. A 22-yard field goal attempt for Chris Brown. Matt Turk, the punter, will hold it. Joel Dreesen will snap it.
I think it's the right decision. Crowd noise is loud down there. It was longer than a yard, just a little bit over a yard. And I just think it's the right decision. You've not been very efficient in your short yards and goal line package. Take the points.
22-yarder for Brown. Little chip shot is good. Buffalo Bills with a 7-6 lead over the Houston Texans. 14 plays, 86 yards. It took 8 minutes and 19 seconds. Aaron Schobel for the Bills just went to the locker room. Getting an update on that as soon as we get it. Fred Jackson will return it for Buffalo. Jackson looking for a running lane, and he shoots through it. Jackson down the sideline. And Jackson forced out of bounds. Bryce McCain with the chase.
Well, I'll tell you what, very good special teams on both sides. 2 of the better special teams coaches in the league, Bobby April and Joe Marciano. But Fred Jackson has been unbelievable returning punts and kicks this year. It's one of the reasons why Roscoe Parrish is not doing it. You know, Bills have made a number of plays in the last 2 weeks on special teams, including last week, that fumble recovery that kind of sealed the win. To see good blocking up front, allowing Fred Jackson to get into the second level.
71-yard return. He took one that was 5 yards deep in the end zone. There's Fitzpatrick throwing, set it up for Marshawn Lynch. He has no room to work as Lynch took a shot from the side. Tim Bowman. It's a loss of 2 as we hit the 2-minute warning. 71-yard kick return for Fred Jackson to put the Buffalo offense in excellent position here. Tail end of the second quarter, but a loss of 2 on the first play sets up 2nd and 12, and Fitzpatrick will work out of the shotgun. Handoff, Marshawn Lynch. Lynch up the gut, and then gang tackle led by D'Amico Ryans. Gain of 4 for Lynch. Clock is moving, 1:48 and counting left in this first half.
Every snap has to be the most important play of the game in the kicking game, because every snap equals field position or points, and certainly this Buffalo offense has benefited from good field position based on their play as special teams as well as the defense.
From the 32-yard line, Fitzpatrick from the gun, throwing over the middle. He's got a first down to Josh Reed. And Reed has been a reliable target for this Buffalo offense for a number of years. Now it's 8th year with the Buffalo Bills. Slot receiver, underneath ability. And it's a gain of 10, a timeout taken with 1:07 left in the first half.
There's Fred Jackson. You talk about an amazing race. This guy has been unbelievable in the return game, and not only that, but the production he's meant to the offense, not only in the running game, but the passing game. As I said, he's been one of their most productive players offensively the entire season.
And remember, Marshawn Lynch suspended for the first 3 games of the season. Who was it? Fred Jackson, who stepped in and did an outstanding job at that lead tailback spot. Now in his 3rd year in the NFL from Coe College, a Division III product. Tremendous success story in the NFL. 2 timeouts to work with, 1:07 on the clock. Bills have a fresh set of downs. Fitzpatrick, handoff, Marshawn Lynch. Lynch cutting it inside and finally brought down at the 7-yard line. Glover Quinn got him around the ankles. It's a 14-yard pickup for Lynch.
It's like two ships passing tonight. You're going to see the blitz, and of course, they miss it. A chance right here. D'Amico Ryans, he runs right by it. And he turns Marshawn Lynch loose on that secondary, and he is a very difficult guy to bring down. Very physical runner, old school. He's better as the game goes on. He gets better with each carry.
Longest run of the season for Lynch, 14 yards. They're getting a strong combination of Lynch and Jackson, and that's part of the game plan with Buffalo, the ability to rotate these guys, and they bring a little something different to the table. Jackson is a change of pace. Lynch gets those tough yards on the inside. He hits the hole hard with that tenacious running style. They put the ball officially at the 8-yard line, 1st and goal. Buffalo with plenty of time to work with.
Now they have them both in the game.
1 timeout remaining. Shotgun formation for Fitzpatrick. Here comes the rush. Fitzpatrick tipped at the line of scrimmage. So he could not get that pass off cleanly. It sets up 2nd and goal.
Well, that's too bad because they had a receiver right across the middle. You see D'Amico Ryans coming right up inside. I think it's going to be, actually it's going to be Okoye. He does a nice job, and a lot of these defensive linemen, when they're engaged, they're tied up. They know they're not going to get to the passer. They just try and anticipate. They try and eye the quarterback, look at his launch point and his release and try and knock him down. Good job, good alert play by Okoye in the middle of that defensive line.
2nd and goal from the 8. Lynch single setback. Fitzpatrick, plenty of time. Fitzpatrick throwing inside the 5. Lee Evans is spun down by Dante Robinson.
Boy, you see Dante Robinson, he's matched up with Lee Evans there. You know, it was interesting. We talked with him last night. He assumed he'd be matched up with T.O. He found out on Wednesday it was going to be Lee Evans. They felt he's been their most productive receiver.
Fitzpatrick, fade route, up in the air, and drop. Terrell Owens. Jock Reeves drawing the assignment. The Bills got what they wanted, except the points.
Yeah, I just think a little bit too much air on this. You're going to see T.O. He's waiting, and it allowed Reeves to come back in there and knock that one out. A very difficult catch. You can see Reeves gets his hands in there early just as the ball is coming to T.O. But he has dropped a number of balls this season. You see right there, 8th in terms of drop balls, and 8 drop balls. That's too many for a guy like T.O.
That had to be the matchup they were looking for. T.O. able to get physical on that timing route up in the air. Unable to haul it in. 21-yard field goal, Ryan Lindell. And Buffalo extends the lead. It's 10-6 Bills with 18 seconds to play in the 1st half. What do you think he was saying, that the ball was fluttering?
Yeah, I just think he's frustrated right now. You know, you and I have talked about it. He's not getting catches. He's not getting in a rhythm early in games. And you got a new quarterback in there. You know, you get comfortable with Trent Edwards the first 4 or 5 games in the season, and then you bring in a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick. So the timing and the rhythm of the passing game has turned off a little bit. But you can see clearly he's a guy that's frustrated. I mean, he's had 2 of his worst games the last 2 weeks. 3 catches against the Jets, 3 catches against Carolina. You see right here, see how he's waiting and waiting. He almost has to stop. And the ball is hung up in there. You can't do that as a quarterback. That's not a drop. You need a better throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that situation gets it done.
Terrell Owens on pace to finish with 41 catches and 553 yards for the Buffalo Bills. Not what the Bills anticipated, certainly not what T.O. anticipated signing that 1-year deal. 10-6, Buffalo. Kick it off with 18 seconds left. Line drive from Lindell. Bounces up in the air to the 10-yard line, and Jacoby Jones. Jones brought down short of the 35 by Chris Ellis on special teams. Here's Schaub to throw, 8 seconds left. Schaub taking time, and a short throw caught by Vontae Leach. And 3 seconds remain on the clock. Chris Draft makes the play. We asked Dick Duran about it. Why the day off on Friday as opposed to Wednesday? And Coach Duran said, look, we're more comfortable with him getting more rest leading up to the game on Sunday. And you're feeling That, though, affects chemistry on that Friday practice.
I couldn't disagree more with Coach Dick Geron. I love Dick. I think he's a great coach. But I just think that time on a Friday, I know as a quarterback, it was so important. The timing, the rhythm, the speed of the passing game, all those specialized throws, third down throws, very important for any quarterback in the National Football League.
Well, right now, Dick Geron's team has got the 10-6 lead over Gary Kubiak and the Houston Texans. Buffalo with a 10-6 lead over Houston, getting ready for the start of the third quarter. And the official word on Owen Daniels, he is out for this second half, listed as questionable after suffering that right knee injury. Texans kick it off. Fred Jackson had a 71-yard return at the end of the first half, and Jackson staying on his feet across the 35-yard line, much to the delight of these Bills fans. Dominique Barber with the play on special teams. Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Bills offense on the field, and the first half numbers. Total yards favor Houston with 195, but 3 turnovers for the Texans. Texans also have the time of possession. Bills got the 7 points off of those turnovers on the touchdown run by T.O.
Yeah, neither team was good on third down. Both defenses I thought played well. Of course, the big story, as you said, Ian, was the turnovers that the Bills were able to generate.
Handoff to Marshawn Lynch, pressing the line, and will gain 3 running inside the tackle. Sean Cody, first man there to greet him for Houston.
Well, you know, you think about this offense in Buffalo, not a lot of production the last 2 weeks, certainly not a ton here through the first half, but the key has been they don't turn the football over. I just think that's so important. They've done a good job taking care of the football. A lot of that goes to Ryan Fitzpatrick. That combined with what their defense has done in terms of taking the ball away, it's the perfect formula for success.
Bills haven't allowed a passing touchdown the last 3 games, longest stretch in the NFL. Fitzpatrick throwing the deep ball for Terrell Owens, incomplete. Trying to loosen things up. And Glover Quinn, the rookie out of New Mexico, with the coverage.
Yeah, they want to take some shots, and they think that's important to get this coverage. And they talked about T.O. this week in practice about their inability to hit the deep go route. And when we talked with Ryan Fitzpatrick, he says you got to try and overthrow him because you can't, and you have to put some air on it right there. Ryan Fitzpatrick actually overthrew T.O. So that's something that they've been working on, and they have not been able to hook up.
I know he said he wanted to overthrow him. I don't think he meant that exactly.
Got to give these guys a chance to make a play on the ball.
Fitzpatrick underneath Marshawn Lynch. It's short of a first down. And the Bills will punt.
You got to give a player like T.O., Lee Evans, Joshua, you got to give them opportunities to make a play on the ball. Just throw it up and let them make a play, but give them a chance.
Right now, Lee Evans has been shut out. No catches for Evans. I'll take that back. He had the 1 grab for 5 yards. Brian Moorman the punt. Jacoby Jones. They let this one bounce, and wise decision. Nice fake out by Jones. Gave the impression as if he was going to catch it. A lot of big plays offensively for the Texans this season. 27 completions of 20-plus yards, 3rd in the NFL behind Pittsburgh and the Giants. Let's see what the Texans offense looks like to open up this second half. Schaub throwing, safety valve, Vontae Leach. And Leach comes up short of the 30-yard line, close to a first down. Chris Draft with the tackle. Ryan Denny is in for Aaron Schobel. It's a groin injury for Schobel, and his return is questionable. Schaub looking for his 10th straight completion. Knocked down and incomplete. Marcus Stroud got his hand up. And Schaub took another shot. Paul Posluszny with the hit on Schaub.
Boy, I tell you what, Paul Posluszny, he brings it. Watch Schaub. He's never going to see it till the very end. Right there, Paul Posluszny delivers the blow. And, you know, as a quarterback, we always say, you have to have a tough jaw. You have to be willing to sit in there till the very last second and deliver a throw. And Matt Schaub never anticipated that hit.
I just saw your body actually move backwards in anticipation of the hit. You just had a flashback, didn't you?
Yeah, too many of those hits over the years.
3rd and 1 now for Houston. So all right, big fella. Fake the handoff to Moats. And Schaub with a touch pass to James Casey. He's got a first down. To the 36-yard line, a 7-yard pickup. And that's a great example of Matt Schaub in a comfort zone, having an understanding of his personnel and what they're trying to accomplish. He is absolutely playing the best football of his career. Gary Kubiak went on and on last night about the leadership ability and just the full understanding of the offense from Shaw.
Yeah, you know, when you study the film, I mean, it's an area where he's really improved. I mean, the ball's coming out much quicker. He's not holding. He knows where his quick answer throws. He's playing with a lot of confidence.
On first down, the pitch. Ryan Moats. Steve Slayton has been benched. Moats with a spin move out across the 40-yard line, and a strong run to the perimeter by Ryan Moats. That's a 7-yard pickup on first down. A problem for the Houston Texans in the first half, turnovers. 2nd and 3. It's Moats again, and Moats goes down quickly short of the first down to the 45-yard line. Chris Draft. Great pickup for the Buffalo Bills defensively. Originally a 6th-round pick in 1998. Now he's been all over the map with Chicago and San Francisco, Atlanta, Carolina, St. Louis. He understands this system, and he has stepped in for Dick Duran with that veteran presence.
Yeah, you know, he's done a wonderful job. You think about all the injuries that they've had to Mitchell and Bugs, and Chris Draft, a veteran guy, has stepped in and done a very nice job in a short amount of time.
Chris Brown is the single setback on a 3rd and 1 now for the Texans. Handoff, they need a yard, and Brown's got it. Just short of midfield. Official word on Schobel, he is out for this second half. We told you about the injury earlier to Owen Daniels, the right knee. He is out. Also, offensive lineman for Buffalo, Jamon Meredith, rookie out of South Carolina. He's out with a knee injury. On first down, Shaw throwing, and it's hauled in by Andre Johnson, but not much there. Drayton Florence with tight coverage. They have not allowed the big play from Johnson. You know it could happen at any time, Rich.
Yeah, you know, they've done a better job. You know, Drayton Florence is a guy that really, when I go back and study the film of this defensive football team, he's the guy that really jumped out at me. A guy that started in San Diego. You know, he was in Jacksonville. He's come over and he's been a real stalwart for them with the injuries that they've had. Terrence McGee on the other side. They have 2 very good, competent corners here in Buffalo.
Motion man, Jacoby Jones. Fake the handoff. Shaw to throw it. Shaw rifles, and it's Jones making the catch. Jacoby Jones brought down inside the 10-yard line. Paul Posluszny chasing down. 36-yard hookup for Houston.
What happened was everybody was looking at Andre Johnson down the middle, even Matt Schaub, and of course right there you're going to see Jacoby Jones. He comes all the way across the field, across the formation on that deep cross route, and the Bills have no answer for Jacoby Jones.
Another injury for Buffalo. Keith Ellison out with a quad injury at linebacker. Nick Harris has been playing over at that position. On first down, Brown in the backfield, running play up the middle. Brown with a spin move to the 5. Casey Studdard with a good block up front. And Texans are in business now. On second down, Brown picks up a quick 5.
Yeah, you know, this is kind of a little bit surprising. You know, the Buffalo run defense, I mean, they got gashed a couple weeks ago. We saw against the Jets for 318 yards, but they were much better last week. And again, it gets back to run fits. Poor run fits, not tackling, not fitting right in this defense. It's been a problem for the Bills for a number of games.
Moats now in the backfield, double tight end set. 2nd and goal from the 5. 10th play for Houston. Fake the handoff. Shaw out of the pocket, on the run, and ducks out of bounds. He picks up about a half a yard on the play. He was looking for Joel Dreesen, who was not open in the end zone, and Schaub did the right thing.
Boy, they did a nice job, the Buffalo defense, covering that up. And what they do is they lull you to sleep with that stretch game, with the running game off tackle. And then, of course, Matt Schaub pulls it out, and he comes backside. But they did a nice job on the backside, not falling for it, and doing a good job covering the crossing receivers on that route.
3rd and goal, just inside the 5. Texans with a chance to take the lead. Shotgun for Schaub. Schaub looking to keep it, and buried. Matt Schaub nowhere to run. Second Bill sack of the day.
Yeah, it looked like there was some indecision here from Matt Schaub. You see him, almost looks like he's going to run a draw. He can't find his way, and they do a nice job defensively. Kelsey and Spencer Johnson right there for the stop, but that was not a clean play. Looked like there was some indecision between Matt Schaub and the offensive line.
Chris Brown on for the short field goal attempt, 26 yards. And he drills it. Texans are within one, 10-9 Buffalo. Back here in Erie County, Orchard Park, New York, just southeast of downtown Buffalo. 12-play, 72-yard drive for the Texans. Short field goal from Chris Brown, who kicks it off to Fred Jackson from the 3. And Jackson, with a flag down, is tackled at the 24-yard line. 4 penalties today against Houston, 2 penalties against Buffalo. Bills actually lead the NFL in opponent penalties this season. Gene Steratore.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 13 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down Buffalo. Timeout.
Ralph Wilson Stadium opened back in 1973. Right now the Buffalo Bills with a 10-9 advantage. 6:58 to go in the third quarter, but after the penalty open up at the 10-yard line. Handoff to Marshawn Lynch. And Lynch leaves his feet after that stick by Bernard Pollard. Wait a second, this is a big storyline. We might have to delve deeper. Fitzpatrick out of the pocket, holding, and a flag thrown as he crossed the 15-yard line. Zach Dials with the tackle.
Well, that offensive line of the Buffalo Bills are they have their hands full with the group up front for Houston. They've done a nice job getting upfield and forcing Ryan Fitzpatrick to move around.
Holding. Offense. Number 23. Penalties half the distance to the goal.
How about that?
Replay second down.
See, that's our tendency. We want to blame it on the offensive lineman. It was actually Marshawn Lynch.
You get the sense that these Bills fans are very antsy. They don't really quite believe that this Buffalo team is for real yet. They've won 2 in a row. They've got a 10-9 lead on Houston. A victory here would give them a 500 record heading into the bye.
This is huge. This is huge for them.
2nd and 13 for the Bills. Fitzpatrick throwing. And caught by T.O. Terrell Owens comes up short of a first down. Needed to get to the 20, but gets back the yards from the penalty and a little bit extra. 10-yard gain through the air.
You know, getting back to what you were saying, you know, they lost 3 in a row. They put together back-to-back wins on the road with a backup quarterback for the most part. You know, and these are 2 good teams. I mean, certainly the Jets on the road was a big win. Carolina plays well down there at home, and I'll tell you that they got a chance to get to 500. That would be huge if they could beat a team like the Texans.
On a 3rd and 3, Fitzpatrick set up the screen, dropped by Lynch.
Boy, that had a chance to really break out. You know, you see the offensive line did a nice job getting out in front. You gotta hit them when they're open. And a screen is not that difficult. You got to give a guy like Marshawn Lynch a chance to get into the transition of the run. You can't throw it on his back shoulder.
So that one's on Fitzpatrick in your eyes.
Yeah, you got to, and you know, again, the receivers sometimes, the backs, you got to make the difficult catch, but together, you got to find a way to get it done.
Brian Moorman now punting deep in his own territory. Jacoby Jones standing at the 23-yard line of Houston. Moving forward at the 30 and hit right away. Buffalo Bills in front of the Houston Texans 10-9. We've got 5:13 to go in the third quarter. Texans with a 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. Ryan Moats continues to get the lion's share of the carries, and Moats, good second effort. Chris Kelsey sticking with him. It's a 2-yard gain.
Well, you know, Ryan Moats is running the ball well, but I just think you lose some of the explosiveness that Steve Slade not in the game. I just think he's been one of your most productive guys. You got to find a way to get him back in there.
On a slant, caught by Johnson. Andre Johnson won't go down on first contact. Out near midfield, it's a first down for Houston, covering 18 yards.
Now keep in mind, this guy right here had a bruised lung last week. He was spitting up blood in the huddle. Watch this. Boom! He is a tough guy. He plays the game with a lot of emotion. They had to take his helmet away last week on the sidelines so he wouldn't go back in the game. it's important to Andre Johnson.
And Jairus Byrd, he's got a lot of picks. I'm not sure he ever saw anything like that at Oregon. Fake the handoff. Look at the time for Schaub. Moving around in the pocket, finding the open man, Ryan Moats into Buffalo territory. Out on the far sideline for a 5-yard gain. Nick Harris with the tackle. The 5th-round pick, rookie out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, it just gets back to my point about Steve Slayton. You're already without Owen Daniels, and you know, I just think this guy's Slayton's got big play potential. Every time he touches the ball, he's dangerous when he gets to the second level. Very quick, to and through the hole. It doesn't need a very big opening. I think you have to find a way to get him back in the game. He'll take care of the ball. Where he's had problems, he's trying too hard to get the extra yards.
Schaub and a handoff, and Chris Brown getting the carry. And Brown shuffles the feet for a first down. At the 40-yard line, Brown turned it into a 7-yard gain. Schaub, by the way, has connected on 14 of his last 15 passes. He's 21 of 29, 220 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
You know, he's done a much better job recognizing, anticipating pressure. And I think this comes with experience, knowing how to handle it, where your quick answer throws are. He is in complete control with this Houston offense.
Bills continue to rotate defensive linemen. Chris Ellis has come to the game. We just saw Aaron Maben. Running play for Brown. Not much there. Spencer Johnson with the tackle, a gain of 1.5 yards. Now for the New York Jets, just trying to figure things out. You knew with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, that was a rookie running back, it would be a roller coaster ride. Schaub, sideline throw. Andre Johnson over there to haul it in. And it's short of a first down, covers 6 yards on the pass play. So Schaub able to keep that play alive with his feet.
Boy, good job moving in the pocket. You're going to see Andre Johnson right here on the boundary. I really got a kick out of what Gary Kubiak said about him. He said, this guy deserves the ball. He deserves the ball because he works as hard as any player I've been around. And you know, Gary Kubiak's been around some great ones. Jerry Rice in San Francisco, Rod Smith in Denver. Andre Johnson is right up there with those guys.
A 3-receiver set on a 3rd and 2. Fans come to their feet. Handoff up the middle. Ryan Moats has a first down. Across the 25-yard line, Moats. He gets to the marker, and Dwayne Brown with a good block up front. This drive is still alive for Houston with 1:05 to go in the 3rd.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan Moats is running hard behind that offensive line, and you know, he's finishing runs. He's doing a nice job, and you see him even at the end of runs, he's always falling forward. And it's good to know that you can plug in a guy like Ryan Moats in terms of the running game and not lose any of the production.
Line of scrimmage is now the 25-yard line. Under a minute to go in this 3rd quarter. Houston on the move. Handoff, Moats again. Cuts it inside, met by John McCargo. 4-yard gain for Moats, now in his 5th year in the NFL out of Louisiana Tech.
Boy, he's running hungry, isn't he? And I think that's important. You know, the other thing, this team has been down here now a bunch, and they've had to settle for field goals. Buffalo has done a really nice job in the red zone, and their red zone defense holding the Houston Texans to 3s.
Moats 11 carries, 62 yards. Buffalo 10, Houston 9. We welcome you back. Ralph Wilson Stadium, Ian Eagle, Rich Gannon, the rest of our CBS crew. Texans came in averaging just under 24 points per game. They've been held to 9 so far, averaging nearly 28 points per game on the road. A chance to start 5-3 for the first time in franchise history with a victory here today. They face a 2nd and 6, first play of the 4th quarter. Schaub throwing and complete on the slant to Kevin Walter. Terrence McGee with the hit. And a 10-yard gain, a first down for Houston.
Well, this is one luxury that Matt Schaub has. He has 2 big receivers in Kevin Walter and Andre Johnson, and they're both very good slant runners. They give you a big target, a big area to throw that slant route.
They're down to the 11-yard line of the Bills. On first down, motion man is Casey. Handoff to Moats, up the middle, huge hole. Ryan Moats takes it in for the touchdown. Texans take the lead here in the fourth quarter.
Boy, I tell you, just look at that left side of that offensive line. They've done a nice job today. Studdard and Brown and Myers, they're doing a good job on those combination blocks, opening up some holes for Ryan Moats. It comes right at you. Look at the movement they get. They cut the backside, and Ryan Moats, as we talked earlier, running hungry. This guy is taking advantage of the opportunity he has here today.
And Reds, they're going to go for 2 here because of the 5-point differential. Gary Kubiak deciding to keep Matt Schaub on the field, try to take a 7-point lead early stages of this fourth quarter.
Well, they're having a hard time getting the play in now. They're inside 20 seconds on the play clock, and still plenty of time, but Matt Schaub's going to have to call the play, get up to the line of scrimmage rather quickly.
2-point try here for the Texans. First time they've gone for a 2-point conversion this season. Schaub looks, throws, caught by Johnson. 7-point lead for Houston. 17-10 Texans.
Boy, and the protection there was really what got it done. They've done a nice job. You see right here, good job with the movement up front. Look at that hole. A big hole for Ryan Moats.
10 plays, 72 yards. It took 5 minutes and 56 seconds, culminating with a Moats 11-yard touchdown run to put Houston in front. They got the 2-point conversion as well, and it's 17-10.
No big plays in the passing game from Ryan Fitzpatrick, this perimeter group of the Bills.
He's 10 of 16 for 63 yards on the ground. Fred Jackson. And Jackson, that hole got clogged up in a hurry. 4-yard gain. Dante Robinson making the play on the far side.
You know, when we talked with Frank Bush, the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans, he told us this is a football team that is committed to running the ball, and that's what they've done so far here today. I still think Ryan Fitzpatrick on some of these early downs, they got to take some shots down the field.
Keep it on the ground. Jackson. A good effort by Jackson to get to the 40-yard line, but not a lot of room there.
Well, penetration right here, you see it right there in the backfield, and that kills you every time. Okoye starts it, and when you get off track, it's hard as a back to get some positive yards, and penetration in the running game, very disruptive.
113 points on the season coming into this game. 42% of that has come off takeaways. Jackson, far sideline, and didn't get it. No gain on the play. 3 straight runs, and the reaction from this Buffalo crowd. Bernard Pollard celebrating for the Texans defensively. They force a 3-and-out.
And I talked about it, 36.5% of the time. 36.5% of the time, the Houston defense has forced 3-and-outs this year. That's tops in the National Football League. Another stop there. Now you give this Houston offense that's been on a roll here in the second half another opportunity.
The Bills do not have a first down in the second half. Ryan Morgan, a fake.
Oh, they got it.
Justin Jenkins.
They were right there. They weren't fooled at all.
And Jenkins lost the football. The play was whistled dead. Chris Draft comes away with it, but it's a loss of 3. And Houston was completely prepared.
And what did Gary Kubiak tell us last night in the meeting? We talked about special teams. We talked about Bobby April, and he said they have a number of different gadgets in the kicking game. You have to be prepared for them. Houston was not fooled.
So Houston takes over at the 37-yard line of Buffalo. They've got the 17-10 lead. They've got the momentum with 12:19 to go in this fourth quarter.
And I don't blame them for trying. Your offense is struggling. You're trying to create some momentum. You're trying to create some energy in the stadium. You have to take chances.
Schaub, incomplete. Looked like that ball might have been touched at the line of scrimmage. Andre Johnson, the intended receiver. Overall for Schaub, 23 of 32, 236 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Fake the handoff. Schaub comfortable in the pocket, throwing, and finds Andre Johnson. Sliding grab for a first down near the 20-yard line. 15-yard pickup.
Boy, the safeties have to be careful. They lull you to sleep with all this run action. You're going to see Andre Johnson. He's going to work all the way back across the field. These are hard routes to cover if you're Terrence McGee. He's running full speed away from you. You're anticipating some help on the other side, but they're doing a good job on these crossing routes.
6th catch of the day, 63 yards for Johnson. And Houston in position to add to its lead with 11:35 to go. On the ground, Moats busting it to the outside. Able to string it out defensively for Buffalo. Chris Draft on that short side of the field. It's a 3-yard gain. I'll give them officially a gain of 4. Well, the Buffalo Bills now 118 straight pass attempts by the opponent without a touchdown. That's the longest active streak in the NFL.
Well, they've done a much better job limiting the explosive plays, and not only that, but they've been stingy down in this part of the field. A very good red zone defense.
On 2nd down, Moats.
Same run.
Shot out of a cannon. Ryan Moats just short of the goal line.
Boy, the very same run, Ian. They just flipped it over. The run that they scored on the last series, they just flip it over. They run it to the right. You're going to see good movement, good double teams at the point. And Ryan Moats, he just winds this thing right backside and gets up on the 2nd level.
And Moats closing in on a 100-yard rushing day. Steve Slayton benched. Ryan Moats has stepped in and he has done the job. 1st and goal for Houston. Handoff. Moats stilled out.
We talked to Gary Kubiak last night. He said it's been a point of emphasis. They scaled back the plan. They focused in on a couple things they do very well.
On a 2nd and goal now for the Texans. Handoff. Moats stumbling. Texans believe he's got it. And he does. Touchdown, Houston. 2nd rushing touchdown of the day for Ryan Moats. The Texans take a 23-10 lead over Buffalo.
A good job by the Texans taking advantage of that failed opportunity on 4th down by the Bills. Good movement up front, but watch Ryan Moats. He does a nice job falling forward, extending that ball over the goal line.
Well, that gamble by Dick Geron on 4th down, the fake punt coming back to haunt him here. Houston has put a touchdown on the board. Chris Brown tacks on the extra point. It's been a coming out party for Ryan Moats. 6 plays, 37 yards. Moats with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. And speaking with Gary Kubiak last night, he told us Moats was going to get some touches. Obviously, Slayton was the featured back, but once Slayton fumbled the football, that was it. It's been all Moats. Trying some trickery again on the fake. Fred Jackson handles it himself. 2nd half struggles offensively for the Buffalo Bills. They take over at their own 29-yard line. 4th possession of the 2nd half. They do not have a 1st down. They have 24 total yards of offense since halftime. It's a handoff to Marshawn Lynch. And Lynch with that punishing running style. The fans don't like it. A 5-yard gain. D'Amico Ryans with the tackle.
You know, and I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, they've struggled offensively in terms of production all season. They're averaging just 220 yards a game. They've only been over 300 just once this season, and I think that's one of the reasons they scrapped that no huddle a couple weeks ago. They're trying to find their rhythm offensively, but they have not been able to find it here today.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, 10 of 16, 63 yards. And looking to throw the deep ball. There's no Bill receiver down there. It's intercepted by Jock Reeves. Fitzpatrick throwing long, and there was no Bills receiver in the area.
Well, there was some communication issue there between Ryan Fitzpatrick and T.O.
And a penalty marker as the two teams come together. Officials had to break up a skirmish earlier in the opening quarter. And trying to restore some order right now, pushing and shoving.
Well, you talk about the importance of Friday practice. I am working together. If you're one of your best receivers misses practice on Friday, this miscommunication can creep up and really hurt you at a critical time in the ballgame.
Jock Reeves with the interception. Who was the intended receiver?
After the play,
still trying to figure it out.
Foul. Late hit. Number 90 of the intercepting team. 15-yard penalty. 1st down, Houston. Timeout.
That's Mario Williams called on the late hit. Miscommunication between Fitzpatrick and Owens. There were actually 5 Texans players closer to the ball than T.O. Jock Reeves with the pick, and Houston takes over at the 34-yard line after the penalty on Williams. And off to Ryan Moats. And Moats picks up 3 yards. Well, Houston will be at Indianapolis next week, and obviously there'll be a lot of talk this week as to what's going to happen at the running back position. Buffalo Bills will have a bye. Gary Kubiak making a statement here with Steve Slayton being benched after his latest fumble.
Well, he's learning he's got to take care of the football. You can't put your team in bad situations. Ball security, obviously, something that's critical as a running back in the National Football League.
Ryan Moats' career high rushing total in the game, 114 yards, December of 2005, as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles against the Giants. And Moats runs into a brick wall and keeps going. Ryan Moats with a couple of touchdowns.
Well, this defense has to find a way to clump the turnover.
On 3rd down, over the middle, David Anderson able to bring it in for a 1st down into Buffalo territory across the 45-yard line. That's a 17-yard pass play.
And the Texans do a good job. This no-huddle attack. They spread you out. They get 5 receivers out, and the ball comes out very quick. And they force you to match up man-to-man in a lot of these situations. And a guy like David Anderson, very difficult to cover in that slot.
Lost his shoe in the process. 21 1st downs for Houston. Compare that to 6 for Buffalo. Under 7 minutes to go now in this 4th quarter.
Well, they're just having their way offensively with this Bills defense right now.
Back to the ground game, and it's Ryan Moats. Moats able to snake his way for a 3-yard gain. Posluszny combining with Chris Draft to bring him down. Is this now a running back controversy? Does Ryan Moats jump to number 1? Does Steve Slayton get a chance to prove himself again?
Well, I think certainly Ryan Moats has helped his cause, but Steve Slayton is too good of a player not to be involved in this offensive plan, and they're going to need him at some point during the course of the season. They're probably going to need him next week. He just has to learn to settle down and take better care of the football. He's too good of a player to have on the sidelines. You got to find a way to get him back in the game.
Time of possession dominated by Houston, especially here in the 2nd half. Moats again able to keep his legs moving. 4-yard gain. John McCargo with the stop for Buffalo, and the numbers keep rolling for Ryan Moats, and so does the clock.
You know, sometimes it can be psychological, you know, and you think about it as a back, the ball, it's like throwing interceptions. You know, you throw enough of them, and all of a sudden you get so conservative back there. You want to make sure you absolutely see the guys wide open. I think they're the same thing with carrying the football. You know, you get so concerned about putting it on the ground, you lose some of your effectiveness, you lose your edge.
You wonder if Kubiak should consider putting Slayton back in the game just to get him a taste of it again, so that he doesn't fly out of Buffalo thinking about nothing but the fumbles. Kevin Walter, end around for Houston, turns it into an excellent gain of 13 yards, and they're going through the playbook here with a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and that's a good job upstairs, talking to the coaching staff on the sideline, seeing that the backside is over pursuing some of these runs, and there's some opportunities for the end around in the reverse. Boy, look at that production.
419 total yards, the majority of the damage coming after the 1st quarter. Actually, the 1st quarter was fine too. Been strong all throughout. Handoff to Moats, emerging through the hole, and Ryan Moats getting into that 2nd level. For Moats, that will be a new career high on the ground. 117 rushing yards for Ryan Moats.
You know, and he has done a nice job running today, but also that offensive line, Ian, they have done a nice job up front. Brown, Studdard, Myers, White, Winston, they've all done a nice job moving piles, creating some running lanes for these backs. And you know, they did a great job at halftime, Houston did, making the adjustment. Slayton was fumbling the ball. Owen Daniels had the knee. They came out here in the 2nd half. They had a nice plan, and they've executed it.
Steve Slayton offering congratulations to Ryan Moats on the sideline. It's now Chris Brown in there for Houston. Chris Draft with the stop, 5-yard gain. for Brown.
You know, you could see this Buffalo defense wearing down. They've been on the field way too long.
Fans clearing out here at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Houston Texans trying to put this one away. Ryan Moats is back in there. He gained 6 right up the middle. So adding to his total now, 123 yards, 22 carries, 2 touchdowns for Moats. Buffalo uses a timeout. They have 1 remaining. Well, who knows exactly 2 weeks from now if Trent Edwards is going to be ready, but your gut instinct from being around practice, talking to people with the Bills, you feel like he'll be in there against the Titans?
He actually threw a little bit in practice on Friday. I thought he looked sharp. I did talk to him after practice. He's going to have another set of tests next week, and if all goes well, I think he's got a chance to be back following their bye the following week.
Hand off to Moats. He's been running hard all day. Ryan Moats, his 3rd touchdown of the game.
Boy, that left side of that offensive line for Houston has done a nice job. Really in unison, Chris Myers, the center, and Casey Stutter working, getting that double team on the 3 technique, pushing him up and then getting up on the second level. You see Gary Kubiak right there. That's how you win football games. That's how you finish teams off in the 4th quarter, by running the ball right down the middle of the defense.
Now Moats, great balance, stays low to the ground and finds extra crevices to work with. Moats had 4 career touchdowns before today. He's got 3 this afternoon.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we said earlier, Ian, that he was running hungry. And what I mean by that, he was running with some power. He's very decisive. He was hitting it downhill, and he was finishing runs. He was breaking through tackles. And I think the Buffalo defense got wore out. You look at now, we're just 3 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the game. They only had the ball for 19 minutes today, the Buffalo offense. They've been on the field way too long. It's a real credit to the job that Houston has done.
So Houston, give them a win to move to 5-3 for the first time in franchise history. At the halfway point of the 2009 season, Texans believe this is the year. They've talked about it in the past, everything coming together, offense and defense. The Gary Kubiak squad.
Well, one area they've really gotten better, and it was a point of emphasis in the offseason. They've become a better road team under Gary Kubiak. You know, they've won 5 of their last 7 now, going back to last season, and another win here today in Buffalo.
On the kickoff, Chris Brown out of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Meanwhile, for the Bills, opportunity to move to 500 if they picked up their 3rd consecutive win. Not to be. 3-5 on the season. And Buffalo does have the bye week, heading to Nashville.
Well, there's a lot to fix, and it has to start with the offense. They have to find a way to get more production. And certainly, you look at that guy right there, Trent Edwards, a healthy Trent Edwards, a productive Trent Edwards would go a long way to getting things right, but they need the other guys to step up as well. Marshawn Lynch, T.O., Lee Evans, Josh Reed, these guys have to play better.
Ryan Fitzpatrick out of the gun. Rush is coming and throws it over the middle, and it's complete to T.O. Well, T.O. with a chance to pad his numbers a bit, but a 14-yard gain is not going to make up for the modest, really subpar numbers that we've seen from Terrell Owens. First down of the second half for Buffalo. They actually led this game 10-6. 25 unanswered points for the Texans. And it's Owens again. Getting out of bounds. 3:05 to go in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, it's never a good thing when you look at the stats. You got 7 first downs in the ball game. 7 first downs and 164 total yards. And, you know, Dick Duran, they're going to have to do some things differently offensively. I think the big thing is first down production. That's really hurt them. They need to be better on the early downs. They get behind in the down and distance. That really hurts them on 3rd down.
Gerard in his 4th year as the head coach of the Bills, 9th year overall after spending 5 years with the Bears. Lynch brings it in, and a 4-yard gain. Swarm from Houston defensively to make the play. And it's a first down for the Bills. So the bye week, then at Tennessee, at Jacksonville, a couple of divisional games back-to-back after that with Miami and the New York Jets.
Well, there's some teams in there that they can beat.
Fitzpatrick again to Owens, now feeding Owens. Obviously different defensive alignment here for Houston with 2:28 and counting left in this fourth quarter.
Well, they've actually played better on the road, the Bills have, than they have here in Buffalo, which is kind of unusual. You know, big thing is the way their defense has played. And the turnovers have kept them in ball games and given them a chance to win.
And Fitzpatrick throwing. Lee Evans making the catch. Just shy of the 25-yard line. We're going to hit the 2-minute warning here in the fourth. 31-10, Houston in front of Buffalo. 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Fitzpatrick now 15 of 22, 117 yards and an interception. Fitzpatrick picked off. Brian Cushing, his second NFL interception.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's led or tied for the team lead in tackles in 5 of his first 7 starts. I'd say that's an immediate impact for a rookie, and he's had a number of interceptions at the end of ball games. Well, just look at the push up front. That's where it starts, the penetration up front, and he never sees and feels Brian Cushing right there underneath. Just a good athletic play by the rookie.
From Oradell, New Jersey, Brian Cushing. Bergen Catholic High School, then became a star on the West Coast at USC. A sack and a pick for the Rook. Texans will now take a knee for the final minute 50 here in Buffalo. Matt Schaub, that's another win for him, and you have to be happy despite the early interceptions, the way he just led this offense with 268 yards.
Yeah, you see him right up there with Peyton Manning, and I'll tell you, this guy is becoming an elite player. And you look at Ryan Moats, the contributions he's had today, and you know, this is a team that I think has really turned the corner. I mean, they get production from a number of different players. I think it's as deep a roster that they have had since Gary Kubiak has been there, and they are feeling really good about themselves right now.
Back-to-back 8-8 seasons. They finished last year at 5-1. They believe there would be a carryover into 2009 for Gary Kubiak. And the Houston Texans on the road getting it done. For the first time in franchise history, the Houston Texans are 5-3. A 31-10 win on the road in Buffalo.